for your presentation, very clear. And in fact, in my opinion, you deserve a whole day for just talking about community archives, because you talked about rethinking and like expanding the models about the archival framework, and also the use of digital technology. So, in my opinion, Stanley, we have to invite Professor Jeanette Bastian for a workshop for the Caribbean region. So this is homework to you, Stanley. Thank you again, Professor Jeanette. And the second speaker for now is Mrs. Margot Thomas. Margot, I invite you also to, are you online already? Yeah, thank you, Margot.
Thank you very much, Rita. And it's a pleasure to be here. And all that Professor Bastian said, I agree with. So what I'm going to do, I will just show you a short photo library of some of the photo gallery, of some of the things we have been doing in Saint Lucia. I'll not speak very much. And could I share my screen? Thank you very much. So we're looking at promoting and preserving community memory and archival materials. For me, it started in 1992 when I was appointed government archivist. And in 1993, we had the promulgation of our National Archives Act. And between 1993 and 1994, we had a government-wide inventory to make sure we knew where our records were and what they were. Now, apart from performing core archival duties and administrative responsibilities, the National Archivist devised ways and means of helping the public understand and appreciate the work of the National Archives. Because in Saint Lucia, we had not had an archive, and the word archives, archivists, these were more or less new to our people's vocabulary. So what I tried to devise different things. So I began with having an annual tribute exhibition focusing on notable Saint Lucians, what contributed to the growth and development of the country, a history quiz for the lower forms of secondary schools, and we also started having exhibitions. And these exhibitions were held in show windows. And you will see the images here of what we held in the Blue Coral Mall, hotels, the National Archives, in public spaces like the stadium and Constitution Park. We went all out in helping our people because in Saint Lucia, our literacy level is not where it should be. I'll just leave it at that. So we started putting up all these exhibitions, and I must say the public was very interested. Look at them there, just the ordinary men and women. They came out. This is in the Constitution Park, and you can see how interested they are. And as we began to do that, and people began to be more aware of the archives, what happened was that so many organizations and people and schools began to call me to have talks on the radio and to let them know what the archives was all about. So here you can see the school children, look at the big smiles on their faces. Just giving them a presentation on the changing landscapes of Saint Lucia. And here we have the Ira Simmons School. They came to the archives, giving them a talk. And this was just part of the group because we had to separate the group into different batches. And here you have Patrick, our Chief Preservation Officer, telling them all about microfilm and microfiche and so on. And imagine, I was even invited to the La Clary Catholic Church, and there I was to give a talk to the students there. And this is the Boys Training Center, the place for the bad boys. And coincidentally, just earlier this year, one of them escaped and went into a neighbor's house and actually murdered a lady who was so kind to them. Anyhow, there I was with Mr. Faulconer, the manager, and I actually gave him copies of my books. We have tried so many things at the archives. Let's share your album. We went out asking people to let us have their albums so we could make copies of their photographs. And this was very successful. People sent us a number of photo albums, and we scanned the photos and gave them back the albums. And up to just recently, Miss Cauldron sent us she was a very well-known sports individual, and she sent us her albums. And we facilitate, the National Archives facilitates workshops and training and exercises. And here we had a call from the people in the media, and you can see Maureen Webster Prince right there. She and myself, we facilitated an audiovisual workshop, and we are at Helen Television System. I was so tired, there I am sitting. And one of the participants, this is her certificate. She was so happy to get it. And we went the whole hog. We set up the Derek Walcott room in 2016, just before Derek died. And you can see just the entrance to the room. Because of time, I didn't show you the tons of photos we have with the artifacts and his medals and a whole set of stuff that he donated to the archives. And we're still getting from Sigrid, his partner. And here you can see him with our then Governor General, Paulette Louisy. And there I am pushing him along, because in those days he was in a wheelchair. Saint Lucia has neither a national library nor a national museum. Therefore, what we have done, we have set out to collect art, published works, to ensure that, you know, anything Saint Lucian, memorabilia, and so on, even t-shirts, carnival t-shirts, all kinds of stuff, that we have those things there to ensure that if and when we have these institutions established, we would have a readily available group of materials that could be used. And I want you to remember, those of you listening to me, that Saint Lucia is 238 square miles with a population of 180 souls. So we're not a big country. We don't have a gigantic GDP, but we are trying our best. So we set up an author's register. The author's register is, I must say, it has been a hit with our people. As soon as they publish a book, as I tell them, they deposit with us an access copy and a preservation copy. In that way, the memory and the books live on. And we give them a certificate of deposit. And the response has been, we have hundreds of publications now. So if we have a national library setup, we have material we can put into the National Library. If this never happens, we are like Canada with a national library and archive. And here you can see one, Dr. Malcolm Charles. He came to me with his latest publication. Mr. Hubert Pierre brought me his latest publication. And they come all the time giving us publications. We also do other things. We have projects like building up our databases and our indexing of newspapers for easier access. And this was one of our students coming in to work with us to do that. The National Archives has established within its doors, we have a sports archive, a music and entertainment archive, a tourism archive, and a business archive. So because I see our National Archives like a rose with all these petals, so that is the way we're going. We work with the media, and we have been able to build up these sections because people give us donations. Our Genealogical Center and National Gallery, they have also attracted donations from the citizenry, and even our people in the diaspora have made donations. Just late last year, we got the donation of a lovely painting, not by Derek Walcott, but by Roderick Walcott, and it is on display at the archives. I always get invitations to go to the schools, and here up to this year, 2023, for International Women's Day, there I am with a small exhibition of my artwork, talking to the students about my writings and the work of the archives. And do you know that since that talk, some students have come to the archives? So these forays into the schools and into the community, going into even the hotels to talk to the hotel workers. I have done it out of the box. I'm not doing things like ordinary archivists sitting down. No, we have too many records all about. And I'm happy to say that sometimes people emulate us, because a young man brought me a number of manuscripts where he actually went out into his community and he wrote about the influential people in his community. And it is based on one of my books here. I'll show you, Pioneers and Foreigners, Saint Lucia's First Ladies. And there is so much more I could talk about, but I'll stop now. Stanley, and this is our National Archives team. The lady in blue at the back is no longer with us. She got married and she went with her husband to another country. It's 9 of us who have been working assiduously. And I must tell you, we do everything in-house, our graphics, everything. And working at the archives has been a blessing. And we continue to influence many people, and especially the people working in the media. They come to the archives and they always want to know what does the archives have on for them to put on their TV programs, etc. Time is short. Thank you very much for listening to me.